What's going on, everyone? It's Epictastic Joshua. Welcome to a voiceover review for The Boogeyman. This is based on a short story by Stephen King. This is directed by Rob Savage from a screenplay by Scott Beck, Brian Woods, and Mark Heyman. The film stars Sophie Thatcher, Chris Messina, Vivian Lyra Blair, and David Dastmalchian. In The Boogeyman, we follow a high school student named Sadie Harper as she and her younger sister Sawyer are still reeling from the death of their mother. They're not getting much support for their father Will, a therapist who's dealing with his own intense pain. When a desperate patient unexpectedly shows up at their house seeking help, he leaves behind a supernatural entity that preys on families and feeds on the sufferings of his own victims. When it comes to Stephen King adaptations, more than not, a lot of them I definitely very much enjoy. There's been some I have not seen, of course, but there are those that I've enjoyed. There's rarely a few that I don't really care for. I wasn't the biggest fan of Dreamcatcher. It wasn't a bad movie by any means necessary, but I just thought it was something missing. But when it comes to The Boogeyman, how I heard of this movie is that it was originally supposed to be a 2022 film, but then, of course, this was originally planned to be released on Hulu, but following positive test screenings, they decided to put this out in theaters back on the same month as my favorite film of 2023, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, came out. And now, having seen it, I definitely enjoyed this one. This is a very solid horror film that it's not reinventing the wheel and it's not trying to be the next big thing in terms of Stephen King stuff, but ultimately this is a movie I very much liked. I find this to be one of the more underrated films of 2023. A lot of people saw it. It made a decent profit with 82 mil, but not everyone went and watched it. In terms of a direction side of things, I really say Rob Savage, he's not doing anything new when it comes to this, but this is a director who he has done two other movies since this. He's done Host and Dashcam, which I didn't see those, and he's also an editor. He's also edited a couple of movies in his filmography, of course. He did start out that way, but I will say overall, when it comes to him as a director, he really does good with what he's having to give, and he definitely knows what he's doing behind the camera. He gets some good shots, but he also knows how to handle a film like this. You can tell that he does love horror and he wants to go about it with a supernatural side of things. And you definitely get that supernatural thing too. And I do love the overall core message of the movie when it comes to them having to move on. The two sisters, of course, having to move on. And also a lot of moments where you do see a lot that has been done before. So I will say the movie is definitely familiar in terms of its messages and in terms of the story, because you've seen this type of plot before, but it handles it in a way that it makes it accessible and it makes it watchable and it makes it competently done. It's not like it's the worst thing ever when it comes to this, and direction wise is really good too. I will also say the script by Scott Beck and Brian Woods, who's wrote A Quiet Place and stuff like 65, and Mark Heyman, they all do a pretty good job in what they do with the script. They know that this is not trying to be Oscar worthy, but they do try the best they can in making something very intriguing and very integral. So I will say they did their job in terms of a writing standpoint. The cinematography aspect, of course, I will say there are some moments when it comes to the cinematography where there is some lighting here that is very dark. And I get that because the creature doesn't like the lights. I can definitely agree with that. I can definitely understand that criticism. And I will also say that I do think overall, when it comes to a creature design standpoint, it is a well done creature. It's scary, it looks intimidating, and it knows what it's doing. So it's a good enough creature when it comes to the overall look of him. And it is a mix of practical and a little bit CGI when you do see it for the $35 million budget. So they were able to handle it with the greatest care. And I will say, when it comes to the cinematography aspect by Eli Bourne, aside from the dark lighting in some moments, it's very well done. Edited very well. It's an hour and 39 minutes. It's not too long for a Stephen King movie. It goes by quick. Patrick Johnson does a good job in terms of editing and what he is set out to do in terms of that. He does great there. But the acting is where this movie does shine. Sophie Thatcher, this is an actress I first saw in the Book of Boba Fett, and she was great in the Book of Boba Fett. And I want to see her do more stuff like this. Out between horror and everything else she's doing, I know she's going to be possibly a Screen 7, so I would definitely be interested to see what she's going to do there. I thought she was fantastic as well. She is having to play someone, she could be a little unlikable. She could be a little distraught. But for the most part, she is giving a great performance there. Vivian Leigh Blair as the sister, she was great. I liked her in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. She's fantastic here. Once again, she's having to give it everything she's got. And she was in We Can Be Heroes, of course. I thought she was fun there. So she was good here. And all you people who want to bully this little girl, shut up. Leave her alone. And I will say that David Dastmalchian, he's only in here for a few moments, but he was great too. Chris Messina was great as well. So is Madison Hugh and Lisa Gay Hamilton and the Maryland, Ireland. So acting wise, it's a very small cast here. And when you get the moments of horror, you're getting, this is a PG-13, of course. It's not going to be all bloody and gory. But for the PG-13, I think they make it work very well. And they definitely do make the scares entertaining for what they have to do. So I definitely appreciate that part when it comes to it. So very much that part was satisfying. I will also say, when it comes to the horror side things, when it gets horror and it gets supernatural, you're gonna get that. So I will definitely give credit to where credit is due in terms of that. And now let's go into the issues when it comes to this, because as I said, the script is not always the greatest. I do think the script definitely could have used a couple more rewrites in terms of the character stuff, in terms of the more story aspects to make it more familiar, make it more fresh. But I will say, for the script that they have, they do make pretty good use of the script, and it's going into places there, and it does keep you interested for the 100% through runtime. This is not a long film. It's only an hour and 39 minutes, obviously. And like I say, it does fall short in terms of the violence, because it is a PG-13 rather than an R rating, and that could hurt for some viewers, and it doesn't reinvent the wheel for horror or the Stephen King genre set of films, but I think it does the best that it can when it comes to it. So I will say that is another issue coming to the film. But overall, I thought The Boogeyman was pretty solid. It's pretty solid. It's not gonna be the next groundbreaking movie in the Stephen King era of films, but for what we got, I do think this is a better movie than what most people have given credit for. I know some people were not the biggest fans of it, but it is a pretty solid film. if you can enjoy a little something that's giving you what you want. I would recommend this. If it's on Hulu, it's on Hulu now, so you can definitely watch it. And I would give this an Epictastic. This is a movie that flew under the radar. It made money, but not a lot of people were biggest fans of it. But there were some people who actually quite enjoyed it.
Well, that's gonna do it for the video that you just watched. If you want to see more, my channel icon is up here. If you want to see more content from me, all my social medias are right here in this end card. I will also leave a playlist and a video here for you to see what the channel is about. As always, acknowledge me, stay Epictastic, join the Epictasticness, and you guys keep it cool.